You're listening to the Let's Talk Marketing podcast, hosted by me, Katya Allison. So, what have you gotten yourself into? In short, it's going to be a good time. You're going to have or listen to a great conversation, and together we're going to have a little bit of learning along the way. Through insightful interviews with top marketers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, I get to explore the latest trends, techniques, and strategies in the world of marketing. I am here to offer you engaging and informative discussions to help you stay up to date on the latest trends and take your marketing skills to the next level. I am ready to get into it. In this episode, we are covering affiliate marketing with Jessica. Jessica lives and breathes influencer marketing, considering it's not just a job, but just kind of part of her personality. She's all about nurturing authentic creators who are truly passionate about their craft. As the social media and influencer marketing manager at Osmo Salt, she's been instrumental in taking the company's delicious product to the forefront of platforms like TikTok, making waves and gaining attention worldwide. So let's get to it. Let's talk marketing with Jess. Jess, welcome to Let's Talk Marketing. I'm excited to have, well, our listeners not know that we have had so many conversations. But I'm always excited to talk to you. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. I'm super excited to be here again. Well, not on the same podcast, but with you in general.
I know. We won't talk about the unnamed podcast. Let's dive in with getting to know you a little bit. That's always where I like to get started. We want to be able to share with everybody what your just kind of marketing journey is. So, share with us what your first marketing role was, or what you would consider a marketing role, and then what your current role is.
Yeah. Okay, I will say my first real marketing role in corporate was at a company called Organifi, but my first look into the world of marketing was when I was
Mhm.
at Lululemon. This was a long time ago now. It's kind of crazy to think that it's been so long since I've been there because I worked there for 3 years and now it's been 3 years since I've worked there. So, it's kind of wild. It's been such a long time since this era of my life wearing black stretchy pants to work every day. But
Sounds
yeah,
cozy.
honestly, I'm kind of doing that now because I'm on a camera on Zoom. But yeah, when I was there, it wasn't really about being online. It was more about marketing in person. So that word
Yeah.
of mouth marketing, we had store ambassadors and going to their class. So it was definitely a very different variation of marketing than what I'm used to. And I was just telling someone about this the other day too, because when I got my first role in marketing, at a corporate job, startup company, health and wellness, superfoods, all online, influencers on Instagram, TikTok, etc. I literally don't know how I got the job. I must have milked the fact that I worked with in-store ambassadors and I was a really good event planner because that's what I did for college. My major was event marketing, hospitality management. So I know I'm hospitable and I put myself out there into something new and got this role at Organifi. Role was called, what was it? Community manager or no, not community
Mhm.
manager, collective city manager. That's what it was called. And
I
this was
like it.
mid COVID, October of 2020, when they thought the world was going to be opening a lot faster than it actually was. Cause part of my role was supposed to be building out local events. So I was
Yeah.
East Coast. I was located in the Boston area and I was supposed to be putting on events for influencers. This never happened. So it kind of worked out in my favor because that's how I ended up being involved in so much of the Instagram world of marketing with influencers and learning
Yeah.
about all of this and kind of diving deeper and really finding my niche for my love for influencer marketing there, which was really great.
I love that. And where are you at right now?
Right now, I am at Osmo Salt. I left Organifi and actually, I think I left on April Fool's Day of 2022. It wasn't a joke, but I left. And I started at Osmo 2 days later. I was just so, so excited. Technically, I'm employee number one there. So as I dove into this, I was able to build this program from the ground up. And that was the number one thing that was super exciting to me when I was starting at Osmo was because at Organifi, the program had been pretty established as it was. By the time I
Yeah.
left, I was pretty much the only one running the program at this point, and we had like 700 influencers. It was just like unobtainable for one person. So for me, a fresh new start and being able to like build a program out that was like more matched to me as an individual, because like I love cooking, I love marketing, obviously, I love social media. So like for me, it was great to be able to find individuals that I knew would match Osmo really, really well and build this
Mhm.
program from scratch. So right now I'm there and I'm doing their influencer marketing and social media. So I'm the social media influencer marketing manager.
Okay,
Long,
nice.
long-winded role, but
A mouthful, but I also think it's something that happens commonly, especially in the
Mm,
influence marketing space.
mm.
A brand wants to do it. They may have social media. If they do, whoever's on social media is now all of a sudden the influencer manager and
Mhm.
is expected to know and be able to do all of the things. And in our strategy session, we'll
Yes.
definitely dive into building out an affiliate program and
Mhm.
whatnot. But I'd love to know in your current role as the doer of all things in marketing,
Yes.
honestly, because let's just call it spade. What is it that you love about what you do? But
Mhm.
conversely, what would you pluck out of it if you were
Yeah.
like, it would be perfect if I just didn't have to do this part?
Honestly, it's so funny because and this is nothing against Osmo because I love my job, literally, like, love my job so much, but if any brand out there is looking to hire a social media influencer marketing manager as a large scale brand, they should not be doing that because this person that's not at a startup should be paid separately for each role. It's 2 roles.
Yes.
You're able to build it into one at a very small brand because we have to. We're literally
Yeah.
wearing so many hats and like doing so many different things, but I think for me, the number one thing I love is the relationship building, and I you know this about me. I could talk to
Yes.
a wall. I literally love
I've seen you talk to a wall. No, I'm just kidding.
Let me turn this way. Like, no, but I just absolutely love like the relationship building, meeting new creators, making them feel like really special because they are like the content that they create on the daily, some of which also have full time jobs and then are doing this on the
Yeah.
side. Like, they deserve to have the gratitude towards them for like doing these things for smaller brands like us. So like that is really exciting to me to be like, hey, like I just want to send you this product, no expectations necessary. Like if you like it, great. If you don't, great. Like I just want to like get this product out there. So like that's like what's really exciting to me is like the gifting aspect, finding creators that are also smaller, like not the ones that are like
Yeah.
carrying in like 200K followers. Like yeah, they're great and it's awesome, but a lot of the times like we talk about all the time is these smaller creators, they're the ones that are really bringing in the views and the community. And they're the ones that I really want to nourish. I think for me too, the part of my job that I would want to remove is probably just like the little nitty gritty stuff that like you do on the daily that just takes up time and energy away from building those relationships. So like maybe it's scheduling social media. But yeah, I mean, we have platforms for this, but it still takes time to schedule it all out and then like
Yes.
make sure it's posting. And in the world we live in right now, I just read an article on it the other day. Like social media managers need to be able to work on the fly, whether it's like catching on to trends and posting stuff for that, or maybe something's happening in the world and you're like, okay, well, that's funny and it relates to our brand. So like let's post about it. And like things change so much. Promos change so much at small brands. You might have to go back and change that. So like it's just like being able to work on the fly, but I really do wish like I had more time for my people.
Yeah, I love that. And you have the best personality to be just
Thank
kind of
you.
in this space because you do need to be able to build relationships, be gregarious and approachable all at the same time. And you definitely encompass all of those things. But I'm also right
Thanks.
there with you in regards to being able to remove, if you could, all of those, I will call them mundane tasks.
Yeah.
And I think also there's this misconception, especially from a social media perspective, that, oh, you're just quote unquote scheduling. That should be really fast. Well, no, this actually takes time because in order to schedule, you have to have like the visual. You
Yeah.
also have to have like the copy. And if you're on
Yeah.
multiple networks, oh my goodness, it
Mhm.
takes a long time to schedule even just like a week. It could take the entire day to truly be thoughtful about what it
Yeah.
is that you're doing, you know?
Never
If
mind all the
anybody
new
says they
social
can do it
media platforms.
exactly, exactly. I always feel like if anybody says that they can do it really, really fast, that like you're missing something. You're
Mhm.
copying and pasting a lot of stuff that maybe should be a little bit more thoughtful.
Chat
But
GPT.
yeah, I love the Chat
Me
GPT, but
too, but
I love it as an assistant, but I also, because I use Chat GPT, it is I can tell when a post is Chat GPT.
me
You
too.
know what I mean? I'm like,
Mhm.
that's Chat GPT. You took no time. I'm all for like assistance
Yeah.
because you and I are both kind of on the same in kind of the same environment where we have very tiny teams. So you have a
Mhm.
lot to do. I think that's the advantage of AI, or the advantage that AI has brought to marketers is that all of a sudden it gives you like a person to go back and forth with. I
Yeah.
feel like the
And I'm
answers.
like, don't like that very much. I'm going back to my original.
Yeah, exactly. And I just needed to bounce this off of someone to know that I was right. So you were wrong, I
It's
was right.
true. It's true.
No, we were talking about just kind of social media networks and just kind of how quickly it does move. So I'm really curious if you use any social media networks. And what I mean by that is like, are you looking at Instagram? Ooh, threads. We haven't even talked about threads.
Mhm.
LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that stuff. Do you use any social media networks for inspiration, education, or entertainment? And if so, which ones?
Yeah. Okay, I consider myself a nerd about this, but because I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Threads now daily, my go-to when I have free time is LinkedIn. And I love scrolling through LinkedIn.
Mm.
I love posting on LinkedIn. Like when I see that little percentage at the top go, it's like, you've had 1000% engagement this week. I'm like, hell yeah, I have. I'm like, I'm like, I was like,
Boom.
boom, right? I'm like, what did I do this week? Like, and like lately I've been a little slower about it because I've had a lot going on, but like that is like my go-to because I feel like it's educational. One, you're
Mhm.
seeing things that other people in your network that you probably don't follow on other social media accounts posting
True.
content. So it's really fun for me, like as someone in the space who like constantly want to learn and like maybe I don't have to time to like watch like a webinar or something for an hour. So I'm like, okay, let me just go scroll through LinkedIn for a little while and see what I find. That's usually my go-to. I feel like TikTok and Instagram can get really saturated with trends. And I see this all the time, especially with some of my creators who like one of them just went viral for this like I can't remember what the ice cream's called, but this little like ice cream bar. And like now people
Uh-huh.
are reposting it and not tagging her and giving her credit. So like you see that a lot
Mhm.
on these platforms where it's like, okay, where did this actually come from? And you can't
Yeah.
trace it because not everyone is good about tagging people. But I feel like on LinkedIn, if people are reposting things, like it's easier to see where it came from, you know? So
Yeah.
I like seeing where credits due and like also seeing like the professional aspect and like people having fun with it now and kind of getting a little more loosey goosey. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good app for me. I get inspired there.
No, I like that. Inspired and educated and even
Yeah.
entertained over there.
Yes.
All right, now let's remove social networks completely because again, this is a fast-paced business. How do you stay up to date on trends if we remove social networks? Is there a newsletter, a
Mm.
website? Like where do you go to?
Oh, I like that too. I actually still get marketing brew emails through like my email threads.
Yeah.
I do like clicking on them. Sometimes I will say that they are a little what's the word? Ad heavy because brands are
Promotional.
paying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's promotional for sure. But
Yeah.
I do like clicking on some of the ones down bottom where you can see like it is kind of including social media, but like this was trending on TikTok or like this is like super specific to your space. And I do like Marketing Brew for that. I think they've done a good job of moving themselves off of their newsletter and onto social media channels, which is good. But I feel like for me, like that's like my usual go to. I can't really think of anything else that I would use other than social just because that's like where I am all day, every day, unfortunately.
That's so true. You know how I like to leverage social? Like I do this cross-channel education where I
Mhm.
will see something come up on Instagram and I'll look on LinkedIn and then that helps me search for what I actually like the hottest topic that's
Yes.
trending. Because I always feel like if you have like the alerts for trending topics, it just gives you such a smorgasbord. But in this space, you do
Mhm.
have to have like your finger on the pulse of like, what's this next conversation going on, right?
Yep.
Like not to date this particular podcast, but like the same thing happened to me yesterday as I'm scrolling
Yeah.
and or no, I'm a part of a Facebook group and someone was talking about Lizzo and I was like, "Oh man." And this is such a shameful thing to admit, but I just don't watch the news and I don't
No,
keep
I
up on it.
don't
Like I
either.
wait for the alerts to come up on social media and then oh
Mhm.
boy. Then I do the whole deep dive. I was like, now I need to know all of the things about it so that I
No,
can
me
have an
too.
opinion about it. So
Unfortunately,
I
I'm the
love
same.
that.
The news is
Yeah.
depressing. I follow good news movement because I like to see a little goodness here and there. I don't know.
I
Maybe I'm ignorant
love
for not watching the news, but I just can't. It makes me sad.
it's well, it also gets so heavy, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so you have to be able to you have to be able to balance it out. But that's also why
Totally.
I like to ask that question as well too. I'm always really curious as to where and how people are staying up with trends, and any good newsletter or like group that I could be a part of is like what I'm a part of. And not that I check it daily, but
Yeah.
I know it's there. I know it's
No,
there in the
that's good.
background.
Hey, a good networking Slack group is always golden too, and I'm in a few
Oh,
of those, and I love
so
them.
true.
But they all
So
find their
true.
stuff on social too for the most part, but I do
Yeah.
love them.
I like that. Okay, you ready to talk strategy? Were
I
you ready to
am.
talk marketing strategy? Okay, so the topic of conversation today is about developing an affiliate program. So I'd
Mhm.
love to hear from you what you believe are like the key components on the brand side for a successful affiliate program, because I know that a lot of brands want it. They don't
Yeah.
even know where to start. Like, what do you have to have in place?
Yeah, it's so tough. I think like the platform is super important, but also the person that's running it. And I think even
Mhm.
still, like I've talked to some like really big brands out there and they're still running things off of spreadsheets. So like if you have someone who's like a really big spreadsheet guru and like they have equations to like pay influencers like in affiliate marketing, like link, commission, etc., then that's fine. I live in my platform because I don't wanna have to do all that extra work because I'm also doing social and mood boards for photo shoots and things like that. I just don't have the time to, like, manage a full
Yeah.
spreadsheet. So, for me, I think the biggest thing is, like, always the person that's running your program. I think that this person you have to think of it as, like I just listened to another podcast recently where somebody was talking about, like, the energy in a conversation is 75% of the conversation. It's not what you're saying to the person, like, they're
Mhm.
feeling your energy, they're seeing your body movement. Like, if you don't feel genuine or authentic to that creator, then they are not going to do your affiliate program because no one wants to make 5% commission on a pair of God knows what that you're selling. Like it's just it's not exciting. Like you have to
Yeah.
really like basically like for me when I first started this program at Osmo, I was going off of no budget. I basically was like, here's what I'm going to do to try to get people on board. I had 5 partners that we worked with because they were friends of Nick's, who is like our main founder at Osmo. We make
Yeah.
cooking and finishing salts for people who don't know what Osmo salt is. But basically, they were like cooks on Instagram and TikTok, and other people saw them using our products. So that was already like exciting for people to be like, okay, this person uses the salts. Like, I want to use it too. And that got me some more like micro and like semi larger creators. But I'll say, like, if I were to reach out to someone who has like 5 million followers on TikTok or Instagram, usually I'm going to be reaching out to their agency. And an agency, probably 99.9% of the time, will say, we will absolutely not be doing a commission deal because they have to eat. Everybody has to eat. And that's kind of the issue with an affiliate program. So, if you don't have the right person in that seat to really like not convince people to do it, but like make them want to enjoy being a part of like a small community like this, like that is what's going to be the number one thing that makes people want to join.
So really it's having the right person in place to develop those relationships to get people
Yeah.
to say yes.
Yeah.
What kind of traits, cuz I kind of want to unpack that, cuz I also believe that that's so incredibly important. You
Mhm.
can't just stick anyone to manage an affiliate program. It has to be the right person. Do you think
Yeah.
it's like what kind of characteristics I as a brand would be looking for in that person? Is it someone that's approachable? Is it someone that, authentically speaks? Or is it I don't know. Like what kind of characteristics, if you're like
Yeah.
having to give it to the recruiter, like this is the type of person that I want you to bring back to me.
Yeah.
This is the type of person I want you to bring back to me. So share some kind of characteristic traits that would be helpful.
No, you nailed that 100%. Authenticity is everything. I think someone who's approachable, someone who is charismatic, someone who is outgoing, someone who you could probably put them in a room of like random strangers and they would talk to all of them and know their name by the time they left just because they were interested in learning more and getting to know someone. You really can't have someone who like feels uncomfortable being told no,
Mhm.
or like feels uncomfortable asking the hard questions, like talking about money and like learning more. I think you also really need to have someone who's a really good listener, because these people, these creators, they're not just creators, they're human beings. Like they want to be heard, they
Yeah.
want to be seen, they want to be valued for the work that they're putting out there. They take so much time out of their day to make this content. Like if I'm taking 15 minutes out of my day to hop on a call with one of these creators, it's going to be for them to talk to me and not me to talk at them. So I really want to hear like more about their experience, how they got into this realm, like what can I do to like make this program better for you to want to be in it? Like I sent out a poll when I first started the program, like after I had maybe 20, 25 creators, I was like, what do you want from this program? A lot of them said flat rate fees and like payments for their work. And like, I
Yeah.
totally understand that. But at the same time, it's like if you don't have that person that's willing, I guess, just to go the extra mile for your creators, then you're really not going to have someone that's like well fit and like build out your program well. And it's all about brand awareness at the end of the day. It's not always the revenue, but having people be happy and like connected to that person is huge.
Well, that feeds into, I feel like, the word of mouth that we had talked about
Totally.
for, when you were doing event marketing, right? And really
Yeah.
pushing that, because that will never go away. Like people talk. That's
Totally, and they all talk to each
people talk.
other. They
Yes,
all
yes,
talk to each
and
other.
then they recount stories
Mhm.
from other people that aren't even theirs, to the point
Yeah.
where it's this massive game of telephone, so it can
Yep.
definitely have an impact. So
Yeah.
we've talked about, like, what you have to have in place. We've talked about the right person to manage and run this affiliate program. I'd love to dive into what type of influencer is the right fit, especially since you brought up the example of, like, if they have a million followers, they don't want the
Mhm.
5%. So
Yeah.
if I'm a brand, who's it that I'm looking for? Not just like the right fit for my brand, but like, should I completely take off like those mega and celebrity influencers off of, like, even the affiliate program? Should I just be looking at nano and micro? What are your thoughts on the right type of influencer?
It's such a good question, and I honestly, like, I think follower count doesn't really speak to that as much either. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely have some creators that I work with that have millions of followers that are doing it for commission, but I think that it really just depends on the creator themselves and the relationship that you build with them. I think that something that I've done a lot is I had a creator who, when we first reached out to him like a year ago, he had like 68,000 followers maybe on Instagram, and now he has almost 500K. So like it's those creators that you see like their potential and their
Yeah.
success and their growth, and like basically just reach out to them and be like, "Hey, you're looking to grow, we're looking to grow, like let's do it together. Like I want to support you. Like how can we do that for you as a small brand? Like who can I connect you with? Like I want to be sure that like you're able to like meet other brands throughout this experience. Like what can I do to make sure that like you feel valued?" I think too, like you could have someone that has 100 followers, you could have someone that has 5 million, that like it really doesn't change like their answer at the end of the day. I do think agencies have a hard like policy for like we need flat rate because we have to hit our goals. But I
Yeah.
think if you never know. Like you could message an influencer through a brand page on their Instagram and be like, "Hey, we would love to send you some product. Like, please let us know where to send it." Some of them might be like, "Hey, here's my agency's email. Like, please email
Yeah.
this person." Some might just email back and be like, "Hey, yeah, I'd love to try it. You can send it here." You really never know. Like at the end of the day, it like they have these kind of unspoken rules with their agencies where they're like, all right, if I have a paid deal coming in, obviously you need to make a cut. But for gifting, like you really don't. So like you may just get like
Yeah.
a lucky day where they're checking the request bid and they might be like, okay, yeah, I'd love to try your product. But I think that for the influencer, and like you were talking more about like their personality and like what I would be
Yeah.
looking for, I think for this, it's just like someone who's for a small brand like Osmo, like willing to kind of just like give us a shot. Like I think I'm super flexible. I'll always negotiate with people. Like if they feel like they shouldn't be making 10% commission to start and they should be making 20, sure, I don't care. Like I'm happy to give you the 20% commission as long as you're going to post about us. That sounds great. Like I'll do whatever you'd like. And like at the end of the day, it's like 20%, or like they want the 5 grand. Like, I'd rather give you the 20% commission because that means you're generating a sale for us. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it's tough. But I think for me in this space, I think just like making sure that who we're working with, like they value the brand as much as we do. They want to see us grow, so they're going to help us. Like it at the end of the day, it's like it is about them making like extra dollars for like what they're doing and the content that they're creating, but like a lot of my influencers and creators will include us in like a recipe just because. And like things like that.
Yeah,
That shows like the added value for me of like having them on my team. And like I always tell them, like, when I'm onboarding people, the people who are willing to join Collective, because I tell them all the time, I'm like, in the future, as we grow, I want to be able to pay all of you. I want to be able to do flat rate deals. I want to be able to reach out to you for like a really big campaign where we do like a large product drop and like have you create like a really cool video for us and like pay you for it. But like, if you're not a part of our collective and you're not here to grow with us, then I won't be reaching out. Like, it
yeah,
doesn't take a lot for you to be like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to get 2 free salts a month, and I'd love to have a link and code." If you share, like, once a month, I would still consider you. But if you just, like, take your salt and then you just don't post and, like I totally get it. Like, everybody wants to be paid, and, like, commission and affiliate doesn't mean you'll always get paid, which I totally understand. But I think that the people who are willing to do it know that their audience is very strong. They know that they have a good community. They know that
yeah.
people are listening to them. And the people who aren't as willing probably know that they don't drive revenue. And that's kind of just like simple as that.
And or they don't know how to do it. And there's one thing
Yeah.
that I do wanna kind of backtrack to because you mentioned, like, it's great if they include us on a recipe post,
Yeah.
right, that they're doing. So I'm kind of and especially well, now I have a lot of things to say. So I wanna backtrack to, like, the nice surprise of being included on the recipe because I also think that for affiliate marketing on the influencer side, that's passive income. So the
Oh,
goal
yeah.
is to have it live beyond just one post or one
Yeah.
story or whatever that's like. So I find that affiliates really work for people who have existing blogs and websites, which is
Yep.
a great convergence for Osmo Salt, right? Because it
Yeah.
is like it's built in recipes. If you've got a blog, then have it, have it live just kind of in there. So I'm kind of curious when you're trying to find that right influencer, is the website and a blog even something that you're thinking through? Or thinking about,
Um,
not thinking through.
it's such a good question. I feel like there are two ways to look at affiliate, and I feel like affiliate could be like a blogger or someone who
Yeah,
is constantly like feeding things through their blog, or they're using Rakuten and things like that. But like those are usually things that I'm not focusing on. I'm more like on the influencer side of social, where it's like, okay, this person has a TikTok shop, or this person has a link in bio, and they include other brands where it's like you can get 10% off Scrub Daddy, or you can get 10% off of Hexclad, things like that, where it's like brands that we also vibe with and would love to be included within that list. And it's like, okay, if you already include this brand, like what's another? I think that the creators that have like hundreds of discount codes, they're like oversaturated, and like that probably wouldn't be the best fit for us. But I do think the creators who choose to work with like a select group of brands, and like maybe they use us consistently in their videos, and people comment like, what salt are you using, or like,
yeah,
what product was that? Usually I see this a lot too on like ads for like certain companies. If they hashtag ad or like but use another product in their video, usually people aren't asking about the product in the video. They're asking about something else because they
yeah,
know that the product that they're pushing is paid for. So it's kind of a tough spot too. But I do think it's like the beauty of affiliate, where like you can kind of include it wherever you want and you can keep it so organic. And that's like the best part for me as someone pushing creators in the right direction, is like
yeah.
affiliate is your friend because you don't have to be inauthentic ever. It's just like products you love, great, link it. People will find
Exactly.
it.
Great link, and here it is, here it is. But I am just kind of curious when you're building out, like, the campaign with the influencer for your
Mhm.
affiliate program, it's a lot. I mean, they have to push it out, as
Yep.
much as humanly possible, I would think, because they want to get the commission. So it's great if they have one viral video and then you get all the clicks from that. So I would assume that you're also looking for the type of influencers that are going to think of creative ways to like kind of showcase their affiliate links
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
Because it is just kind of a pay to click, pay to play. That's not what I want to say.
No, I know what you
Um,
mean.
yeah, it's like something with clicking. I need more coffee, but you
No,
get what I'm saying. Like
you're
you need,
fine.
well, I mean, like you do. You kind of need someone that's going to repost and repost and repost. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious, like when you're developing that campaign for that influencer in the program, are you
Mhm.
giving them a minimum of times to post and where, or do you give them a lot of freedom? Do with it what you will.
Mhm. That's a good question too. I think a lot of brands who do affiliate marketing have a set of guidelines and like
Hmm.
rules, but I was never a rule follower myself, to be quite honest with you. So I personally feel if you are not paying an influencer, you cannot request things from them. So I do not
Hmm.
set expectations. The only thing that I state is you have 3 months to make $250. And if you do not, then you are moved to ambassadors instead of being in the Osmo collective. So
Mm.
for the collective, you receive like 2 salts a month, you receive newsletters. It's like constant upkeep community. For the ambassadors, it's kind of like touch and go. Like I don't need to pay attention to them as much as I appreciate them sharing about us. It's like they're not the ones driving revenue. They might have incredible content. So like maybe I bring them back because they are strong content creators, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day they still deserve to be paid and given credit for what they're creating. So like I'm happy to send those people salt, hopefully and eventually pay them for their content if it's really strong and has that not like viral but like strong views and impressions. But I do really think that with that being said, like I want to like encourage them to like join in some way, shape, or form. Like, okay, if you don't hit this, we're not able to like continue working with you. So we're going to move you. And I want to create that not like fire under their ass, but like I just want to like make sure that they're like encouraged to share. Not that like
Yeah.
not that they're forced to, but it's like, okay, it's it's not super hard to make the $250. And I made sure that like when I created our structure, I was like, I made it exciting to hit that mark. So like once you hit the 250, you have an increased commission. Like once you hit
Yeah.
500, you have an increased commission. So like they're very small benchmarks and it makes it easier and more exciting to do, you know, especially
Yeah.
for a program where like I'm not going to be paying you flat rate all the time. So,
Yeah. Do you have best practices for where to set the commission percentage for a tiered system like that? Because I'm with you 100%. I think making them sounds bad, but making them work for it, right, means that
mhm.
they are now invested in it. I've got this one very
Yes.
specific goal that gets me to the next level, that gets me to the next level. So, in a tiered system like that, what's your advice or best practices on where to even start that commission structure? Is
Yeah.
it 5%? Is it 2%? Is it 20%?
No, it's such a good question, and I also do like some affiliate work personally because I also like to see it from an influencer standpoint.
Mhm.
Being in this space, it's fun for me. So I just joined one recently, and I won't name brands or names, but it was like a 3% commission start, and I was like, "That's really not exciting. I'm going to give some feedback." Not that they wanted to hear it, I'm sure, but I like when people started at Osmo, we have a 10% start. So 10% is like I mean, it's not like huge. Like if you make a sale of like, let's say $20, okay, you're going to make $2. That's not that exciting, but because usually people will buy multiple flavors, it's like, okay, if you sell $60 worth of salt, then you make $6 and then you have an easier way to make it to 250. 250 is like our highest price point item. It's like if someone were to buy an Osmo Vault, that's like a $250 item. And it includes like all of our products. But like since we have like lower price point items, I wanted to start it out at a lower price point to hit.
Yeah.
And I think that brands need to like think about it too. It's like, okay, what's your profit margin? How high can you go on
Yeah.
giving out commission? And also like what is the cost of your product like how much product can I send my influencers? What's the percentage? Like how can I make this enticing? So like for us,
Yeah.
and I have no problem like telling people like what it is at all. It's like 10% is what you're starting at. Once you hit 250, it's up to 12.5%. Once you hit 500, it's 15. Once you hit 1,000, it's 17.5. And then once you hit, I think it was 3K, you're bumped up to 20. And then if you hit 5K, it's 25. But that's the max. Like the only creators that I would ever increase it for are the ones that are bringing in like 10, 20K revenue for us.
Yeah.
And like these are the people that are like, okay, I know that you are going to bring in revenue. You are going to ROI. Let's do a paid like collaboration with you.
Think that that's a great way to suss out in your pool of
Mhm.
content creators and influencers who are going to really be those big return on investment without
Yeah.
losing out, because as you've
Mhm.
just talked about just kind of just the affiliate program structure, you also brought up, brand ambassadors, and now you've just
Mhm.
said like the paid. So it sounds like not only do you have a tiered affiliate program, but you have a tiered program in general as it
Yeah.
goes to influencer marketing. Is there anything that I'm leaving off of the table? You have brand ambassadors, you have affiliate program, and then you have the flat fee. Is there something else that I should, as a brand listening, should put into play so that
No,
I
I mean,
maximize?
I feel like I think we have like unspoken tiers. And I think that it's something like as a smaller brand, you kind of have to like weigh these things out. Like we don't always flat rate fee people. Like we don't
Yeah.
always have brand ambassadors. Like we you kind of have to see where you're at quarter after quarter as a small brand and just see what you can do. I think with this in particular, it's like also like as a brand, uh, money isn't everything. Like it is, but you also have
Yeah.
to think about the brand awareness play. It's like even though this creator might be bringing in $100 a month for you, what's their
Yeah.
content like? What are their views? What is the brand awareness factor there? And it's like, okay, how do I look at my impressions over the past quarter? How many influencers did I bring on in the past month? Have my impressions increased? Have they decreased? Do I have too many creators that I'm managing and then I'm falling away from managing the ones that are really bringing in the revenue for me? At the end of the day, it's such like a give and take. You kind of have to find that middle ground where you're like, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket with the person
Mhm.
bringing in the most money because if you do that, say that person doesn't want to work with you anymore. Now you've stopped communicating with all the other people that are bringing in just a little bit of revenue for you but not that top tier. It's such a I don't know. It's so hard to like really pick
It's a
and choose and
balance.
every brand is so different. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But I think that you've also provided really great advice for even figuring out the commission structure, right? It is
Yeah.
something that you have to unpack. I mean, you could pull it out of your butt if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And if so, then like that's definitely something that you're testing. But I feel like the downside of testing at a higher percentage for any affiliate program is that then you get the people that are in that program already very excited about it. So you can never like
Yeah.
downgrade, or if you do,
It's
you have
true.
to think so much about the experience. So I
It
have
is true.
one final question before my final question. At least I think it's my final question. I feel like I had three final questions before we got here,
I
but
love it.
I'm curious as to what you have in place, or if you have something in place to just kind of connect with those influencers that you are you creating a community for them? Do you have check-ins? Is it a newsletter? Is it a monthly Zoom? Is What do you have in place so that everybody kind of knows where they're at, and you are building those relationships and being a cheerleader to them for you?
Yeah. It's so important. I over the past like year and almost a half that I've been at Osmo, I've been implementing new things consistently. And as I said before, I used to send out surveys to them and ask like, what do you want to see in the program?
Yeah.
What is like something that you see at other brands that they're doing well? And not trying to toot my own horn, but they always tell me I'm doing it the best. Like
Toot toot, toot toot, my friend.
I'm totally kidding. I always love to learn from them though. I do. I always love to learn from them because it's so important to make your program better and like work around them because they're the ones in it. It's not what I want, it's what
Yeah.
they want. So for me, I just started them last month. We had our first one and I was very excited. I had a webinar basically. I had them all on. Um Right now, I have about like 72 creators in my program. And I think the last time we talked, I had like 30. So I'm pretty happy about that. I
Lot.
wouldn't, yeah, I love it. I wouldn't say all of them are super active. I would say probably like 40, 45 are pretty active. But to me, that's still really strong. It's more than half. And I started just like calendar inviting them all. I do monthly newsletters already. And sometimes I do biweekly, just depending on like if we have promos or if we have a new product dropping. But I just started. The first one was like an Osmo 101, just teaching them about the program, getting them to know each other. I had like 10 people on the call, which is pretty good for our first call. So I was happy about that. And I told them, like, ultimately, my goal for the webinars and for these calls isn't just to teach them about Osmo. It's like how to have like best practices as a creator, how to use different social media platforms, how to build a media kit is the one that we're doing next week. Just because I've seen this so many times and like I want to really support them in finding other brands to work with as well. Because at the end of the day, if I'm supporting them, they're always going to support me and they're always going to be there to support Osmo as long as I'm giving them the tools that they need. And I think that it's such a huge win for them to be able to like work with other brands as well, especially since I'm only offering them an affiliate program at this time. Like I want them to get paid flat rate deals. Like I just don't
Yeah.
have that budget right now. So if I can give them anything, it's like, how can I help you build a media kit? How can I help you like structure your Instagram feed to make it prettier or like whatever you like? How can I teach you about the TikTok algorithm or trends or anything that's going on? How to use Canva? Like literally anything. So that's kind of been what I've started doing with them. I sent out a survey. They told me what they wanted to learn and do. So that's been like my goal at the moment is just making more of those once a month.
I think that's amazing. You're adding so much more value to your program by thinking about their needs
Mhm.
that I feel like you're downplaying how many creators you have because yes,
Mhm.
maybe the number is 75 and you're like, well, there's like 40, 45, active. But that's a lot of relationships to
I
maintain
know.
because they're not the only people in your life. They're part
Mhm.
of like your work life. If you think about how many people you have to keep track of in your personal life on top of it too, and
Yeah.
then doing it from a business sense, can you that to me sounds like a lot of conversation. Or maybe that's
Mm.
the inner introvert in me that's screaming out, it's too much overstimulation.
Oh, man, I love it, though. They're great. It's fun,
Uh,
and all of them aren't posting at the same time, so it's like
yeah.
I think of it as like, I have 45 kids, and I need to give them attention on different days.
And they're all my favorite.
Exactly. Oh, I love it.
Okay, so I do have the final question, and I am going to cheat, and I'm gonna read it out loud just because I'd
That's
practiced it
fine.
obviously beforehand, and nope, the words were just not coming out right. So, if you knew then what you know now, what's the marketing advice that you give to yourself?
Oh, I think looking back at little Jess getting her first job in corporate marketing at Organifi, I think the one piece of advice I would give myself is to the girl that was always complaining, I didn't have a budget and I didn't have money. And I wanted to be able to spend whatever I wanted to spend on all these pretty pieces of content and all that stuff. Money does not equal brand awareness. It does not equal impressions. It does not equal relationships. And I think that the biggest thing I've learned over the years is the more time and energy that you give to your creators and your community, the more you will get back, regardless of if it's word of mouth or brand awareness or just random little pieces of content sprinkled in from like a random creator you didn't think would do that for you. I think it just like goes a long way. Like money can only do so much. It's never going to build out the program that you desire.
I am obsessed with that answer. I love it because it is so true.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the marketer I still say that. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't have the budget. If I had a budget, I'd be able to do all these things. But it's tough. I feel like it is tough, but that's such great advice. And I hope
Yeah.
everybody who's listening has, taken all of the knowledge bomb nuggets that Jess has dropped. Thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing so much information. I absolutely appreciate you. And I think that you're amazing.
Thank you, Katya. I think you're amazing.
Of course. Bye. I am a big fan of Jess's and a big fan of talking about affiliate marketing. But we all know I'm a big fan of talking about anything marketing. Let's dive into it. I've got the key takeaways for this week's episode. Number one, the importance of relationship building in influencer marketing. Authenticity and approachability are really critical characteristics and skills for an influencer marketing manager, an effective one, that is. Whoever is managing a program with creators really must be able to foster those genuine connections with influencers to ensure that they are, meaning the creators and influencers, are feeling valued and they're feeling heard. I cannot overstate enough that you have to be a really good listener because at the end of the day, you want them, being again the creators and influencers, to feel valued for the work that they're doing because they're doing it for you as a brand. And I think that that can be a real challenge for a brand. How do you determine if someone's really good at building relationships? I think it's really about the kind of questions that they ask. For example, like, are the questions thoughtful? When they do get a response, to those questions, what does their nonverbal communication look like? Is there nodding? Is there understanding? Are they staring off into space? Right? Think of like the verbal and the nonverbal. I think nonverbal speaks volumes. We talk about building relationships when it comes to many different marketing tactics, but not everyone is a relationship builder. So that's not a given. Don't go into it thinking that it is. Sorry, that was a really juicy takeaway for me. The second takeaway, when it comes to affiliate marketing, set up a tiered system to give you and your creators some options. So, creating tiers for different commission amounts. That's what I mean by creating a tiered system. Having creators work their way to the higher commission makes them just as invested as you are in their success. A tiered commission structure can motivate influencers to really generate more sales, and as they earn higher commissions when they reach, those certain benchmarks. This is also a great way to sort of compile a creator roster for all of your needs. I've personally seen brands execute street team tiers. I'm putting this in quotation marks like you can see it. And those street team tiers, or that street team tier, that doesn't have a commission percentage attached to it. They're just really big fans. And it's much more based on impressions and brand awareness. Once they've achieved X amount of impressions, then they can start earning commissions. So create a tiered system for your affiliate marketing program. The last one, infuse your program with community. It's important to create a sense of community among your influencers in an affiliate program or really in any sort of creator program. And I will not go down this rabbit hole, but community is so important. And it's such an effective marketing strategy all the way around, whether you have a creator or affiliate program. Providing this community with education, support, and a platform to connect with one another can be really key ways to foster that sense of community. A community of influencers who value the brand and want to see it grow. That goes a really long way. And honestly, even investing in micro influencers who honestly will grow into macro influencers, it's going to help you keep your costs down in future influencer campaigns because they are loyal to their community, the one that you've helped foster. Now, I'd love to hear what your key takeaways are. Please post them on LinkedIn when this episode is up and live. It's the Let's Talk Marketing podcast business page. Leave me a review, or leave all of us a review on Apple Podcast. Share kind of your tidbits there. I want to say a special thank you to my podcast producers, Content Allies. They are truly amazing. Check out the episode page to learn a little bit more about Jess as well. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Until next time, may the conversation flow, the laughter linger, and the outlook remain optimistic but grounded in reality. This is Katya signing off.